All right, so thinking about your trees like this is gonna make it a lot easier to paint. All right, welcome to Paint Coach. If you're new to the channel, my name is Chris Fornatero, and I help over thousands of painters every single month with my online courses and tutorials. And today we're gonna be talking about trees. Now you're probably wondering, hey Chris, why is your tree painted like a broccoli flavored fudge pop? It's because this is gonna help me explain how I look at trees. So I'm going to kind of talk about this for a little bit and change some things to it. And then later I'm going to just do a full blown quick demonstration of painting this tree. All right, so the main thing to take away from this right now is what I've done is I've just made the tree into a big block. And there's a light side and a shadowed side. And if you look at the tree here, you can see that the sun is coming it's coming mainly like directly overhead, but a little more from the left side because you can see the cast shadow on the ground. So the sun's coming hit, and you can see things are a little bit darker on this right side. You'll kind of catch some more shadows. And thinking of the tree like this is going to help keep you on track when you do start putting in, different shapes and variations and cutting into the trees and putting sky holes and indicating leaves and all that stuff. You always want to have this in your mind, because with this you can always alter it. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say we wanted to take a chunk out of these trees. I'm going to get some blue, some ultramarine blue and cad lemon, and a little bit of alizarin crimson, create a very dark value here. And let's cut out just like a little chunk right here. Make sure I get enough paint to be able to paint over this. And I just want this to look like someone just came and took a big chunk, which is what it kind of looks like right now. So when I'm painting the tree in the demonstration, you'll see me a lot of times go back with what a lot of people call a dark accent. You can break the tree down pretty much into light, shadow, dark accent, and then sometimes there's one more lighter value. Like I could probably push a small, one more lighter value on the light side of trees. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'll do that in this demonstration, but always be thinking of it this way. So, we cut a hole into the tree, but let's say we want to identify these big clumps of trees because, this is the overall shape of the tree, but you can see here, there's like a clump there, there's kind of like this big clump over here. And while you're painting, you're going to want to identify that. If you want to be able to, identify a big clump, how are we going to do that? I'll show you right now. So I'm just going to mix up some more of my light side of the green. Let's say there's one right here. So you got the light side because that's still facing the sun. Let me mix up some of my dark green. Don't worry, I'll talk a little bit more about mixing colors in the demonstration. Don't want you to focus on color mixing right now. I want you to focus on structure and form. So, got that right there. Gets a little darker underneath because that's casting a shadow. Sun's coming down, so there's not any light under there. So now I have, this little, I reshaped it. Like imagine if that was like a clump of leaves, like a bunch of branches, coming out. I'll do this one more time. I'll actually start with the shadowed side this time. And let's put it up here. Let's say, trying to think, oh, there's that kind of big shape there. Let's just say, this isn't fully in this. I'm just kind of doing this for the demo, but let's say there was a big shadow shape right there. And then the light. There. And maybe a little underneath there. So now it looks like that's kind of sticking out. It's its own, you know, clump. Another thing you can do is cut back sky holes. And the deeper you cut the deeper into the tree you cut the sky holes, the more dark they're going to be. So you can get some blue and say, I want, actually, this will be fun. It's fun to put, because a lot of times when you cut in holes like this, the darkest darks, you know, kind of like right in here, it's a thinner, thinner foliage. And so you a lot of times can see through it. So let's say you could see all the way through. Actually need to lighten it a little bit more. All the way through to the sky on the other side. You can also cut back in. Make sure you get the sky the right value for what it is, but I could cut back in. And you see how my brush picked up some of the green there? It's on my brush now. And so I actually want to clean it, pinch a paper towel, make sure I get that clean color. That can be helpful a lot of times. See how it's like a soft edge? You can actually, a lot of times, like I'll purposefully do that. You'll see in the demonstration, I'll do that to help indicate leaves. But whenever I do that and I come back into the sky, I want to make sure I don't bring that green back into the sky. So I clean my brush. I think I can push that a little bit lighter to match the sky that's right there. See, now you got a little cutout right there. And you can see the same thing goes for tree trunks, like light side, shadowed side, and always be paying attention to like if you're seeing a shadowed tree trunk or you're seeing a light tree trunk. So I'll cut back in one more time. You know, let's say you got another hole right there. And one more hole right there. It's fun, fun little exercise. But like I said, if you want, a lot of times I'll soften the edge like that and kind of let that paint blend together. And you can see now it's starting to look a little more like leaves. So I kind of just wanted you to see that, to have that visual in your head, because when I do the full demonstration here in a second, things are going to make a lot more sense. All right, now if you're painting trees, you're probably into landscapes. And if you're into landscapes, you really need to know composition, which is why I offer my free composition coaching guide. It's a series of short videos where I break down composition and how I go about composing a painting. If you want to check that out, there's a link to it in the description of this video. All right, let's do this demo of a tree. Now this is just a 6x8 inch linen panel. I put a wash of yellow ochre on it. On my palette, I got ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cadmium red, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, and titanium white. And I just have some paint thinner here. I'm gonna get some ultramarine blue, burnt sienna, draw this in. Now when drawing in the tree, don't worry about drawing it in exactly how you see it. You kind of want to first just start with the big overall shape, kind of drawing it in straight lines. Maybe it comes in, maybe it comes out. You know, no one's gonna call you out like, oh, like the tree isn't drawn exactly how it is. Like the main thing you want to do is just make sure things don't look too symmetrical, which we can do sometimes. Is this there? So I got that there. Yeah, there's probably like the little clump right there. Seems like a good shape for a tree. And then you got it's like a bunch of tree trunks, kind of a bunch of trees grouped together, I think. I took this photo out in Jackson, Wyoming. I got this cast shadow here. We're just going to simplify this background just to have the field end. And then we'll put those mountains here. But that should do it, drawing wise. Now, just going to get a bigger brush, got a number 4 flat, and want to mix up color for the shadow, because remember, blocking out light and shadow first. So if I get some ultramarine blue, cad lemon, it's going to be a green, but I'm going to want to put some red in that to desaturate it. Let's make sure I mix up enough here. And then I like to test it out. It's like, it looks maybe a little bit of the cad red, make it a little bit warmer. But see, now that I have the rigid block structure in my head that I showed you before, I can be looser. Like you'll see that I'm not going to be very careful. Like I'm going to be painting pretty loose because I know the form. Like I know my boundaries, so I can be loose with it, which will also in return help make it read as trees. So what I'm doing is I'm squinting my eyes and I'm just trying to see where the shadows are, knowing that most of them are going to be on the right because the sun is coming this way. So it's like, all right, there's some there. Got me, that's in shadow. I know it's going to be underneath because it's coming from above into the from above in the left. So like under here, probably going to catch some. And it's also like anywhere where there's going to be a cut into it. So I see some right here. Can even though using this green, kind of indicate, okay, there'll be probably some tree trunks coming into there. But a majority of this tree is in light, like as you remember from actually got it right here, like from this, like a majority of it's in light, just a little bit of it's in shadow. So also keeping that in mind. So now I want to do the shadow side or the light side. The biggest mistake people do when painting trees on the light side is they make the light side way too bright. They also had to try to add too many levels of light. It's always darker than you think it is. So I'm just push some yellow. It's kind of branched off from this dark green, trying to make a lighter green. I'm not going to be using any white. A lot of students will do that. They'll use white to try and lighten it, and then they get the chalky color. You can see kind of right there just how dark it is, relative like to everything else. Again, to squint my eyes. Don't overcomplicate it. I feel like for the longest time, felt like I needed to go, like try and find every little thing that I see. Like a lot of times with trees, the simpler the better. Is that. And see, I know, like, since I've done the block and I have that block structure in my head, like I know what I'm painting right now. Like I know I'm painting planes that are facing this way. You can see it's already working pretty well already. Now I'm gonna get that tree trunk in. I'm gonna get some ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Just get the dark in first. Maybe come up and just indicate some of these major branches I know I'm gonna want. This kind of comes right there. I don't need to do too much of it right now. But once I got light and shadow, what I like to do is I like to get the background and the sky in. So I'm going to do that real quick. Some ultramarine blue. Start it relatively darker at the top here. And I actually try not to touch the tree just yet because I don't want to, again, contaminate my blue just yet. So push a little more white. As I go down the sky, you're getting kind of a little bit of a sky demo right now as well. Just a little more white, touch of yellow. So now, because now as I go closer to the tree, I need to be kind of more aware of things, and I can also, this is an opportunity to manipulate edges. And so I can like kind of come in there, let that paint run together in certain places. Just trying to just get rid of any of the blank canvas. Don't want to get carried away with this either and like try and put like every single little hole and everything that I see. And push this a lot lighter at the horizon. See, it's okay if things get like a little messy around the edges of the trees because it's just going to help it read as leaves. It's going to get some ultramarine blue and white. Push in a little more white and just get these mountains. Something in right now. Something to paint up against. So you can always come back. Once you put the sky in, you can come back and put like stray leaves and kind of reshape things if you want. When it comes to the tree trunks, a lot of times I like to get some burnt sienna and some white, a little bit of ultramarine blue. Again, I can that. And these are actually pretty bright, so I can actually push a little more white, maybe a touch yellow ochre. Got a little bit of blue in there to desaturate it, but just being aware of like which side of the tree trunk or branch I'm painting, if it is one that's facing the light. I don't want to make all these the same size. I want to vary them up. Let's get a couple of those in to get a feel. Feel for what's going on. Can also go to the branches that are in shadow. But now is the time where I'm probably going to want to do, put in my dark accents. Remember I talked about dark accents before? It's going to be darker than the shadowed side, just like the deepest parts of the tree that we want to cut out. So I think maybe I see some deep in there. A lot of times this is going to be like the color your branches or tree trunks. There. And you're going to see me bouncing around a lot, like just coming to my light side and just getting a little more specific, having some stray leaves soft edges here or there. Also can cut back in with the sky holes. Remember we did that. Let's get some of your sky color. You just want to be careful, not overdo it, and try, when you cut in sky holes, try and think of big shapes a lot of the time. Don't just go bup, 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 and like try to just like dab in like little holes everywhere. Be deliberate. It's probably a better way to put it. So now I want to kind of come back to my tree branches and light. Maybe this one is catching some light right here. And a little tree branch coming out to that clump. Also, like while you're doing all this, something you might run into is you kind of might like thin out your trees, like doing all this stuff. And if you have to come back in and just, you know, fill things out a little bit more, big simple shapes, and like bring this out a little more. Now I'm going to go and cut back in with some few more darks here or there. And now you can try and find one more lighter value. It's not going to be that much lighter. Like I'm just kind of inching my way lighter here, seeing if I can push one more value lighter to get a little more form. These are going to only be on the clumps that are like facing more upward towards the sun. Be pretty sparing with these. You can see how it's like very, like it's not that much lighter. I'm kind of keeping it mainly towards the top. Anytime I see something like this where it's just like too blocky or just too unnatural looking, you know, let's break it up a little bit. All right, there you go. Hope you found this helpful. If you use this method to paint your own trees and you post a picture on Instagram, make sure to tag me at Forza43 and use the hashtag PaintCoach. I'm Chris Fornatero, here telling you to go get painting.